Hello, friends. We're here in Ephesians again. But if not many of us have been to prison, but certainly this quarantine and sheltering in place can feel like prison. I was asked just a moment ago, so what are your plans tomorrow? And almost every day my children say, hey, what are we going to do tomorrow? The same thing we did yesterday, kid. We're going to stay at home and try not to get sick. That's the whole plan. This sheltering in place focuses us on what we can do in the present, and also focuses us on the present. We can't make plans for the future very well. Hey, are we still going to do that summer vacation we planned? I don't know, and that can be pretty discombobulating. Well, you may know that Paul wrote the book of Ephesians while he was in prison. And it's a fascinating thing to think that, wait, Paul, you're in prison. You're in prison for preaching the gospel, for going about the Roman Empire and writing these letters, and you continue to do that. How do you have enough emotional energy or strength to do that? Well, let's read here, and I've got a few thoughts. We're in chapter 3 of Ephesians, beginning in verse 1 and going on to verse 6. For this reason I, Paul, the prisoner of Jesus Christ, for the sake of you Gentiles. Surely you have heard about the administration of God's grace that is given to me for you. That is the mystery made known to me by revelation. As I have already written briefly, in reading this then, you will be able to understand my insight into the mystery of Christ, which was not made known to people in other generations, as it has now been revealed by the Spirit of God's holy apostles and prophets. This mystery is that through the gospel the Gentiles are heirs together with Israel, members together of one body, and sharers together in the promise in Jesus Christ. So, once again, you note that Paul is still talking about this this cultural divide between Jews and Gentiles and how they become one people in one church through Jesus Christ. The value of Paul's little sentence here, I, Paul, the prisoner of Christ Jesus, for the sake of you Gentiles. Paul was in prison for a purpose. And many of us could easily say that we are imprisoned, we are stuck at home, we are waiting this out for a purpose because we don't want to get sick, we don't want to get other people sick, we're wanting to be safe. And that's fine. But for many of us, it's not enough of a purpose. What could be, if God is the Redeemer God who can redeem all things, what purpose could we have while we're in our pandemic prison? What could God be calling us to do as we're spending our days? Are we doing it wisely? Are we reading good books? Getting good content on the internet? But this is something worth thinking about and worth praying about. Paul, certainly while he was in prison, had a fantastic purpose. He was writing letters, he was connecting with the church and using his experience and his time to further the gospel. How are we doing that? Because in all things, God has a purpose. God has a purpose for us. God has a purpose for everything. And all things can be redeemed into God's will. I think it's our role and our task to discern what that is. What is it for you? So friends, with that, remember, the kingdom is here, the kingdom's coming, and the king still reigns.